Powerful stories, powerful sound. This is B360 Productions, where your voice takes center stage.
Welcome back to Endeavor to Connect. This is the final chapter of our three-part Kilimanjaro series. In this episode, we make the final push toward the summit and reflect on the experience of returning home from the mountain. This is Kilimanjaro. Return home.
I'm Steve Baskis, and this is the final chapter of our three-part Kilimanjaro story project. In the first episode, we prepared for the journey to Mount Kilimanjaro. In the second episode, we stepped on the mountain itself, moving through rain, exhaustion, altitude, illness, cold camps, and the slow climb towards summit night. Now, in this final chapter, we continue with the last push to the top of Africa and the journey back home. After days of climbing, the mountain eventually pushes you into a place that no longer feels familiar. High Camp sits in a harsh world above the clouds where the air is thin. The cold cuts through every layer, and sleep becomes difficult. Even resting takes effort because every breath feels shallow. People quietly organize their gear for summit night. Boots, gloves, water, headlamps, layers, trekking poles, batteries, snacks, knowing there are only a few short hours before it is time to move again. Summit pushes usually begin in darkness. Most climbers switch on their headlamps and follow a slow trail of lights winding upward into the night. As a blind climber, I experience it differently. I'm listening constantly to my guide's voice, focusing on verbal communication, the sound of footsteps, the feel of my trekking poles touching the terrain in front of me. The mountain changes beneath your feet every hour. Sometimes you walk through loose volcanic scree that slides backwards with every step. Sometimes it's rock, snow, mud, steep ledges, or giant boulders larger than vehicles. In some places, there are sharp drop-offs disappearing into darkness beside the trail. Above the clouds, the weather can change instantly. One moment you're freezing in the wind, and the next, the sun breaks through and drains your energy with intense heat reflecting off the mountain. You constantly adjust layers, trying to stay warm without overheating. At altitude, even simple movement becomes exhausting. Your lungs fight for oxygen. Your muscles burn. Every few steps you stop to breathe, using techniques like pressure breathing and the rest step, just to keep moving uphill. For many climbers, especially people new to high mountains, the experience can feel overwhelming. The altitude, the exhaustion, cold, heat, fear, and isolation all begin to strip things down mentally. As a blind climber, there are no visual distractions pulling my attention away. I hear my breathing, I hear my heartbeat, I feel every movement in my legs, every shift in terrain, every moment of fatigue. The mountain becomes physical, mental, and emotional all at once. Eventually, if the weather allows, daylight begins to arrive. The darkness slowly gives way to the morning sky, and those with eyesight begin to see the world around them. Glaciers, clouds below the horizon, volcanic rocks stretching across the summit ridge. Sometimes the summit is hidden in fog and snow. Other times the mountain opens completely and reveals views that seem impossible to describe. And then, after hours of climbing, you finally reach the top. For a moment, the suffering quiets. You realize you're standing on the highest point of an entire continent. There's exhaustion, relief, emotion, gratitude, and disbelief all mixed together. I remember feeling thankful for the people around me, my guides, my teammates, and everyone who helped make the climb possible. But the mountain is not finished with you yet. Eventually, you have to turn around and descend. And in many ways, coming down can hurt even more. Every downhill step pounds your knees, your hips, your ankles, and your feet. Fatigue catches up with you. The mountain demands focus all the way back to camp. And when you finally return, collapsing into a chair or tent, drinking water, forcing yourself to eat, resting sore muscles, the stories begin immediately. People talk about the summit, the fear, the pain, the weather, the mistakes, the victories, and the lessons. Climbers reflect on past adventures and quietly begin thinking about the next one. Because for people drawn to mountains, the journey rarely ends when you come home. For this final episode, I wanted to bring in more voices from the expedition, but schedules and distance made that difficult. I was able to reconnect through a virtual call with one person whose role on the mountain was deeply connected to my experience. My primary guide, Celiann Gonzalez. Celiann helped guide me through airports, camps, trails, weather, illness, and the physical and mental challenges of Kilimanjaro. She has experience working with blind and visually impaired veterans through adaptive outdoor programs. And after returning home, we reflected together on what the mountain experience meant to both of us. When Celiann first connected in Denver before traveling to Tanzania, none of us knew exactly how the expedition would unfold. We had trained, prepared, packed, and planned, but mountains have a way of reminding you that preparation only gets you so far. I asked her what was going through her mind before the climb began.
My mine were more like, am I going to make it? Because I hadn't been working out as much. We talked about that even before we even met in Denver. I'm like, am I going to be in shape for this? And that was really my main concern, and be able to finish it. But when I told you what I was doing, I was, oh, you're doing way more than I did. Like, you'll be fine.
For blind climbers, a guide is not just someone walking nearby. A guide becomes part of the way you move through the world. On a mountain like Kilimanjaro, that relationship requires communication, patience, trust, and a shared commitment to keep going. I asked Celiann what it meant to help guide me through this expedition.
For me, it was an honor. Like Lonnie called me. You know me, I've been working with visually impaired for a few years now through Team Runner mainly. And for me, it's this, you guys help me as much as I help you. I help you more on the physical things, getting there. So it's good to feel useful, I guess, and help my fellow veterans, that have a disability, that they need some extra assistance. I mean, you guys help me with my mental health and my emotional health. I'm one person that I like helping others. I'm known as being Mama Cell. I'm always trying to take care of people. So having that already, even before I got there, like, at least I can get to help Steve.
One thing I've always appreciated from sighted guides is the willingness to describe the environment, not just the obstacles, but the beauty, the clouds, the sunset, the landscape, the feeling of being high on the mountain. I asked Celiann, how did that act of describing the world affect her?
And describing things to you guys. Like, I don't know if I was blind, if I would do it, I can't see the imagery, but I get it too. I'm like, oh, they're doing it. But, and I don't know how you guys feel about it. You can't see what we're seeing, the beautiful sunset or the beautiful. So describing those things to you guys, it makes us appreciate that scenery as well, even more. I'm like, oh, I never noticed that detail. But because I'm describing it, I'm looking even closer, trying to give you guys an image in your head.
As we moved higher on Kilimanjaro, the mountain started to take a toll on everyone in different ways. For me, illness drained my energy. For others, altitude, weather, and exhaustion became major obstacles. But for Celiann, one of the most powerful moments came after summit day, when snow blindness took away her ability to see clearly.
On the way down, I did the stupid mistake of not putting sunscreen and wearing sunglasses on summit day. And it was on the way after we came back from summit, I took a nap and I woke up, and you all know I had snow blindness. And that hit me like I never been so emotional. And I wasn't that emotional that night. But when we started to hike down to the lunch spot where the car was going to pick you guys up, that hit hard. And it wasn't so much the climb. It was, and I'm not saying I can totally experience what you guys experienced, but it meant more helping you now on the way up, because now I was the one needing the help with a guy to get down. And that just, I mean, I don't know if you knew, but by the time I got to the lunch spot, I broke down crying for like 30 minutes, nonstop crying, because I couldn't do it on my own.
Celiann's experience did not make her blind in the same permanent way as Lonnie, Aaron, or I live with blindness. But for a short time on a mountain, exhausted and vulnerable, she experienced what it meant to need a guide, to ask for help, and to trust another person with each step. For listeners who have never climbed at altitude, it can be hard to fully understand what a mountain like Kilimanjaro demands. It is not just walking uphill. It is altitude, weather, mud, cold, fatigue, sickness, and constant decision-making. For a blind climber, there's also the mental energy of every foot placement, every instruction, every moment of trust. When people think about Kilimanjaro, they often think about the summit. And yes, the summit matters. But sometimes the deepest memories are not only about the highest point.
Of course, the summit is great. Seeing Lonnie and Aaron, and how emotional it was for Lonnie to be with Aaron. Because I heard your podcast, the We Are Superman podcast. Great podcast, by the way. And just being present and being, not too many people were, because everybody was already on their way down. So that small group, the two of them, and their guides, and Aaron's good friend that came with him, I forgot his name too, and then just the two filmmakers, they were emotional as well. Seeing Lonnie get up there because they're making this film about him. That was pretty special, being there, and the tears, everybody, Aaron and Lonnie exchanging rocks. So Lonnie grabbed another rock, he dug it from the snow and gave it to Aaron.
I asked Celiann what stayed with her most after returning home.
When I realized I was blind, that I'll never forget. It's like, and when I realized that I can't do it on my own. Now I went from being a guide to being the guided. That's what I tell people. That was the most impactful moment, and it could have happened in any other mountain, but it just happened on that mountain when I was being the guide for the most part. Now I couldn't do that anymore. Now I need to be guided. And again, it was very powerful. It happened in Kilimanjaro. Yeah. So I think that was just by my learning by personal experience, what you guys go through, and how much effort and how much trust you put on people to get you where you need to go.
At its heart, this expedition was about teamwork. It was about people with different abilities, different injuries, different backgrounds, and different roles coming together for one shared purpose. I asked Celiann whether this experience changed the way she thinks about challenge, disability, and helping others.
I think it didn't change. It made me, like I say, it made me better, just again, because of my own experience with when I lost my vision. But it made me more, I knew you guys can do everything you can, because I've been with, like you said, I've been working with people with disabilities for a while. But it opened more, it opened my mind more as to what your needs are, because I had to get those needs. I had those needs at one point in the mountains, but uh, but don't ever. And I always said, never underestimate anybody with any kind of disability. What We all have a disability. I don't care who you are. It might be a mental disability, it might be a physical disability. But if you have people that can enable you to get there, and that's the thing, we help each other, and it's about enabling somebody, giving them the adaptation to make it. Some of us need a mental motivation, like, sometimes I have anxiety, or and sometimes I get my depression bouts, but Lonnie will take you out of the depression because he'll start joking. uh and keep you motivated, and it's just being conscious about it, just being open to anybody's disability, whatever it is, and communication, talk. What do you need to get to the next step? And ask the person. Don't assume what they need. Ask them, what do you need? That's always what I try to do. I'm like, tell me how I can help you, because I don't know you as well as you know yourself. So
Coming home from Kilimanjaro did not mean leaving the mountain behind. The mountain came home with us, in memories, friendships, lessons, stories we are still learning how to tell. For me, this expedition became an opportunity to document adventure from a blind perspective, and to share the realities of climbing a mountain like Kilimanjaro as a blind veteran. It was a reminder of how much trust goes into these experiences. Trust in guides, teammates, preparation, communication, and the people around you when conditions become difficult. Celiann's experience also offered an important perspective on the climb itself. On the mountain, she spent much of her time helping guide me through difficult terrain and conditions. But after experiencing temporary snow blindness during the descent, she also gained her own firsthand understanding of vulnerability, trust, and reliance on others in the outdoors. Thank you for listening to this 3-part Kilimanjaro story project. To follow our next adventures, stories, podcasts, videos, and community projects, visit blindendeavors.org. You can also find Blind Endeavors Foundation on YouTube and Facebook. If this story moved you, please share this episode with someone else. Help us continue telling stories that challenge assumptions about blindness, disability, adventure, and what is possible after loss. And if you are able, please consider making a donation to support the Blind Endeavors Foundation and the work we do. Thank you for listening, and thank you for being a part of this journey.